So I wanted to continue just speaking about this Torah that I mentioned about Reish Pei Bet, about all the Nikudot Tovot. So I'm going to read over here what Reb Nachman says, just a little quote about the importance of this Torah. He says, "Ve'izhir Rabbeinu Zichrono Livracha me'od lelech im haTorah azot." Rabbeinu warned all the Hasidim that they should be very, very careful to always walk with this Torah wherever they go, because it's a true foundation for anybody who wants to get close to God. And a person shouldn't, God forbid, lose his share in the next world. Because he says most people that are far away from Hashem, far away from Kedusha, from Torah, from mitzvahs, from tefillah, from yearning to God, the main reason why they're far is because of their mara shchara and atzvut, which is the sadness and just the depression and the heaviness that people go through. Because they fall in their mind, they have a nefila in their mind, they feel like they're really far from Hashem, because they're looking always at their kilkulim, all the bad things that they did, the things they fail in. And every person knows in himself, right, what things in his heart, he knows what he did wrong, and all the things that he feels, he feels pain for doing those things. And because of that, they fall in their mind, they get very weak. Nefila in the mind is like a weakness of the mind. And that weakness makes them feel far from Hashem, and makes most people, he says, they go into yush, into despair, and they forget about their holiness, and they give up completely. And through this, when a person goes into this state, he doesn't pray, and he doesn't pray with kavana, even if he davens Shemona Esrei, he knocks it off quickly. He just doesn't feel any connection, not because he doesn't want to feel connected to Hashem, but because he feels like he's far because of all the things that he knows that he did wrong. And because they're in that state, they don't even do what they could do. Which means even if I'm in a place where I'm in, right, even if I did whatever I did, like I spoke about already in previous talks, that even if a person did what he did, it doesn't mean that I can't grab what I can grab right now. There's so many things throughout a person's life, throughout every single day, every hour, that you can grab. You can grab things in holiness, but the reason why a person doesn't grab those things that he could do, okay, he can't do lots of things that are way above his head right now because of the state he's in, but all the things that he could grab, even those things he gives up on, because he feels miyuash, he feels sad, he feels distance from Hashem, because of all the things that he did wrong. So this is the reason why Reb Nachman wanted us to really walk with this Torah, live with this Torah, because it's really the foundation of being connected to Hashem. It's judging yourself favorably and finding those Nikudot Tovot. It really, your entire connection to Hashem, to holiness, depends on this idea. A person needs to be very, very careful, put a lot of thought into this whole idea. Because all the things that he falls in, all the times he feels weak and he feels far distant from God, even though he says, Reb Nachman says, even though it is because of things that he did wrong, and he truly did those things. Even though it is things that he really did, the sadness that he has, and the nefila, the down that he feels in his mind, the distance from Hashem, is just coming from the other side. It's not coming from the side of truth at all. It's coming from the false side. That the Yetzer Hara, just a little introduction on what a lot of people are confused with, this concept of Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov. So what a Yetzer Hara actually means, or Nachman says in a different Torah, that Yetzer Hara, the bad, the evil inclination, what they call, is bad thoughts, negative thoughts. Negative thoughts of I'm not worthy, or I'm so distant from Hashem, Hashem's upset with me. Any type of negative thoughts that a person has about himself, about other people, about life, about anything, that is the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Tov is machshavot tovot, is good thoughts. When a person has positive thoughts and he's thinking good about himself, about others, about everything, that is Yetzer Tov. So that's a very, Rav Nachman just makes it very clear that what Yetzer Tov is, what Yetzer Hara is. The good and bad that we have from within us, they say that in your heart you have the good and the bad. So the thoughts is basically come from, they generate from the heart. So that's what Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara is. So he says that all the machshavot ra'ot, when a person is, the reason why he's feeling all down is because he's in his mind, right? He's in this state of darkness, of in a low state of mind, right, and feeling this distance, it's only coming because from that side of those negative thoughts, because he's thinking of all those negative thoughts, all those negative things that he did. That's what's making him feel that distant and getting further and further away from doing even the things that he could do. So Reb Nachman says, for this reason, a person needs to strengthen himself, to walk with this Torah his whole life, and to search and to find from within himself any little bit of good that he did, anything he can find. And through this he'll draw life onto himself and bring himself into a state of happiness. And he'll always wait. He'll wait for the redemption of Hashem. And through this, by finding all these little nekudot tovot, it'll open up a person's heart. He'll start seeing that good, like that candle we spoke about, that you just make it get stronger and greater. And through that, he'll be able to open up his mouth and start praying to God and singing to Hashem. Like it says, Azamar Elokai Be'odi. That's the pasuk that Rabbeinu builds his whole Torah on. That it says, Azamar Elokai Be'odi, that I will sing to Hashem, I'll praise to Hashem, Be'odi, even with that little bit that I have. Even though it seems to me like just tiny little things that I did, and I'm not even noticing them. But by starting to notice them and starting to speak about them and pay attention to them and realize that those little candles that's it. That's who I am as a being. Because all the darkness, when a person leaves this world, goes to the next world, none of that is going to be, it's not going to be around. There's no more darkness. Once we go up, it's only good. So all the good that he grabbed in this world, that's what's going to be left. The darkness is not going to have an existence. It's going to be gone. So by the days that Yizkeh Lashuv be'emes el Hashem Yisbarach, right? Through this, a person will truly merit to return to Hashem. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be zeiche to get close to Hashem by just remembering this Torah wherever we go in life, and just finding the good, and always focusing on the good, forgetting about the bad. The bad doesn't exist. I was thinking about like our fingernails, right? We know that the Adam Arishon, before he sinned, so he was made out of fingernail, tziporin. So after the sin, God, covered us because we listened to the Eitzah of the snake. So we got in the Zohar, the skin is called Mishcha Dechivya, the skin of the snake. So our body got covered, with this, wrap of like skin, snake skin, let's call it. And we got at the ends of our fingers and feet, we got our hands and feet, the ends of them, we have a little bit of the nail left. So I was thinking that maybe that could correspond to the Nekudot Avot. That, I sinned, right? We ate from the tree and now our entire body is covered with the skin of the snake. But the tips of our fingers, we always look at that little bit of fingernail that's still left, that little bit of before the sin. And maybe that's why we look in the fire, because we know Adam Arishon, right, he was created on Friday and then he ate from the tree, he did the sin, and then as soon as Shabbos came in, right, Shabbos, it says Shabbat Agina Lo, Shabbos protected Adam Arishon. And it's known that night, that first Friday night of the creation, the sun didn't set, there was no darkness. It was completely light all the way until Saturday night. And Saturday night, the sun set. And Adam Arishon was very afraid, and thought the whole world is being destroyed, that suddenly the light was gone. And then God gave Adam Arishon the wisdom, the chokhmah, to take 2 stones and knock them together, and a spark came out, and he lit a fire, right? So that's where the fire of Havdalah, when we put up the candle on Motzei Shabbos, it's connected to that inyan of bringing that light into the darkness. So Shabbos, right, is a little taste of the coming world, and then the weekday represents this world. So in between, we do this Havdalah, which means the separation between the two. So we light the fire and we take our fingernails and we look at our fingernails. So why do you look at your fingernails? You're looking at that little bit, of the nail, that little bit of before the sin. So your little nekudot tovot. It's like a remez that a person. It's hinting to us that you're about to go from this taste of Shabbos, from being in this bliss of having meals and singing nigunim and speaking Torah and, right, just being in a different world. You disconnect yourself completely from all the physicality and all the worries, you try not think of any business or anything that, any worries you have throughout the week. You try to just wipe them all out. And we're looking at our nails. We're like about to go into this weekday. So we're looking at the Nekudot Avot and remembering that this is the main thing you got to take with you. Look at your fingernails and remember all those, the majority seems to you dark, but remember you have so many of those little small Nekudot Avot. You have that aspect of before the sin, before Adam Arishon ate from the tree, right? And that's your nail. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should at Havdalah look at our nails and remember those Nekudot Avot and take them with us wherever we go, and just always look at the good. Just not focus on the bad. Do not look at the bad. It does not exist. It does not exist. We have to take that out of our mind. It's very, very hard, but it's a thing that we need to just walk with and think about and talk about, and it changes a person's life. If a person could do it, everybody, obviously we all have challenges. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you can do it and start working on it, the best thing to do is, like I said last time, is just to take those few minutes a day. The Rav Gudlevsky gives an eitzah that a person should actually take like a little notepad and just write down 3, 4, 5, just write down in a notebook, all the things you did. Whatever, every day just add, I did this thing that was good, I did this mitzvah, I did that, and put them in every day, write a little bit more. And you'll see, before you know it, you'll have like notebooks that are full of these Nekudot Avot that you did. And a person, when you open it up, when you're going through that dark space, when you're going through a hard time, you open it up and you say, wow, look how much good I have. There's so much, right? We just don't notice it throughout our life, right? It's passing by. But like Chazal say, every Jew's filled with so many Nekudot Avot, so much good from within him. It just, it goes into the past, you forget about it, you don't pay attention to it, but there's so much good that every person has from within him. Even the person, like Rabbeinu says in the Torah, he says that even the person that's the furthest away has so much good from within him. And if he would just, he's far from Hashem because he doesn't look at it, but if he would just stop and look at the Nekudat Tovah and realize that is the only thing that matters, that's, those little bits that he has good that he grabbed from within his life, that's the only thing that's him, that's who he is, that's his essence, because everything else doesn't exist, right? And like there's an inyan also that when Mashiach comes, Rabbeinu says that Yeshinyan she'akol yitapech l'tovah, that when Mashiach comes, it's going to be, it says Az yevukash avon Yisrael ve'eneno, the angels are going to be searching for the sins of Am Yisrael. They're going to searching because they're going to be taking those sins, those things that were so dark and so bad when we were in this world down here, when we were going through the test of the freedom of choice, and we had the Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara, the things we could do, we have to do in the Torah, the things you're not allowed to do. But when Mashiach comes, all that's going to be wiped out. They're going to be searching for the sins of Am Yisrael and taking them and taking they're going to be little stones, little jewels. They're going to be searching for them to put them at the crown of the King of Hashem, right? Mamish, the crown of Hashem. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should, try our best to fight against, all the challenges that we go through. Stay away from, things that we can't, and whenever we fall, to remember that there's tshuva. Thank God that tshuva came before the creation of the world. God already, before even creating this place, He created this concept of tshuva because He knew this is something that we're gonna need. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should have an awesome week and go into the week strong, focusing on the good, focusing on all the positive stuff that we have in our life, especially with the people who are close to us. Everyone has that test of seeing the bad eye, seeing the negative things that other people have, but it's not important. It's not important to look at the bad stuff. It only brings bad. It only adds bad, right? Like Chazal say, when a person drags himself after sadness, after the negative goes after him. And obviously, midat tova meruba. So if a person which means that the goodness is so much stronger than the bad. So if a person looks at the good and he focuses on the good, then they draw good onto him from above. B'ezrat Hashem, we should all have lots of shefa and bracha in our life. Amen.